Censorship in this world, I don't believe has a place, but as an art maker, I believe that there is a line that can be crossed by an artist. But as an artist, I know my own line. I know when that line should be crossed, and that's a form of self-censorship. But the censorship put in by people that are not the artists, I believe, are out of place. This is a collection of videos by artists and their belief on censorship. What did you do before you were the theater teacher at Eagle Crest?
Oh, Lord. Everything from acting professionally, directing professionally, theater, to working for the mayor of Denver when it was John Hickenlooper, to working for the Denver Film Society. I made a feature film and toured it around the world. I worked in radio, I worked in the music industry, all kinds of things, but all art-related.
Well, I'm very good at visual art. I'm in AP Art Studio, and I also do theater, so I guess a dramatic visual artist. I don't know.
What kind of pieces have you created in your visual arts class?
In AP Art Studio, you have to choose a concentration, and my concentration had to do with my other side, which was theater. So I made all my art pieces centered around just technical theater and acting as well.
What kind of artist are you?
I'm a photographer.
You're a photographer. What type of work do you do with your photography?
Weddings, theater, family portraits, senior pictures,
All right.
dogs.
A couple of years back, there was an artist that he's a performance artist, and in his video he depicted ants crawling over a picture of Jesus on a cross. And in the very same video, he was showing himself masturbating. And so religious groups only decided to censor, wanted to censor the ant portion of the video. What do you think about that decision?
Yeah, I don't know why one is more vulgar than the other, and I think that it's audience depending. We've certainly done stuff at Eagle Crest that some audiences go, well, you can't do that, or that shouldn't be done, and then you'll do something completely different and have the same response. We've certainly done Christ allegory on stage, and I've had some audience go, well, I don't know that I agree with that being on stage. And we've also done some adult-type, difficult subject matter, and different audiences think that it's not necessarily appropriate. So I'm the kind of person that would say that if the artist has a strong message and conveys it with strength, then it's all valid.
So the part they censored was the masturbation part?
No, they censored the ants on the cross.
That's the part they censored?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think the definition of art to me is anything that's created that's intended for a particular audience to react to. Naturally, people reacted, so I think that's art. Whether you like it or not doesn't mean it's not art just because you don't like it. So, yeah, I think it was fine. People need to stop getting so offended over religion and stuff like that.
I don't believe in censorship at all. I think that being an open book is a good thing. I don't think that anything should be censored. People should know what's happening in the world. And that if censoring it is just, to me, a sense of lying.
Sense of lying?
Mm-hmm. That they're not telling you the truth, they're not telling you the whole truth, and there's something to be afraid of, and I don't understand why there's anything to be afraid of in America, where you're supposed to have freedom, and censorship is, I think, eliminating that freedom.
If the artist has a strong message and conveys it with strength, then it's all valid. But it's all valid based on your intended audience. And so if his intended audience was those church-going people, then he's leaving his work open for that kind of censorship. I think there's room in this world for everything. Now, I think that we have some rules and regulations and laws that are safe. You give an art maker complete free reign, and you are welcoming the devil. We have some things to keep the public safe. Could be anything from animal cruelty laws to human cruelty laws. And we, as artists, sometimes have a fine line as to what is safe and what is not, and we play with that line a lot.
Now, I don't see why anyone would censor it, but I guess it does offend people, but if it's their art, then I think they should not be censored.
Has any of your art pieces ever been censored?
None of mine in particular, but a few people in the class I know had to be careful around the things they put. Like, I remember one of the students in our class wanted to use someone who was naked in an art piece, and that particular piece had to be carefully done. Like, it couldn't be anything sexual. If it was nudity that was tasteful, then it was fine.
People need to recognize when dealing with art and when looking at art that they are welcome to bring their own moral compass to every piece of art. Someone has a strict moral compass they bring to a piece of art. And that art may offend their moral compass. That art may offend them morally or socially or economically. It might offend them. But that they, as an audience, must recognize that they may not have been the intended audience for the piece. Or the intended reaction is not always of beauty. Sometimes we create art that we don't necessarily want people to look at as and judge as beautiful or not. That sometimes we recognize that we create ugly, and that ugly has a place in the world too. And as an audience, your job is to look at it, interpret it, feel any way you want to feel about it, and move on. If it doesn't hit you in a nice, warm, cozy spot, don't buy it. If you're very, very unhappy with the art, ask for your $5 back at the movie theater. And recognize that that piece of art may have not been created with you in mind. But it doesn't mean that you're the only audience. It doesn't mean that your moral compass is everyone's moral compass. And I think in a world, or it's certainly in a country like this, we have to create room for it. And that something offensive to you may not be offensive to me. And that your job is not to restrict what art comes to me. And my job is not to restrict what art you have access to. And people need to be more discerning audiences for themselves. And if they want to hold the moral compass for their family and say, well, this piece of art is not for my family, my wife, my children, whatever, that they can do that. But their job is not to censor it for you or I. You and I have to decide. We have to say, does that fit within my moral compass? Does that fit within my quality? Can I look at that piece of art and be offended, not offended, and be okay with that, and not judge for someone else that piece of art has to go, that piece of art should not be?